The Detroit Lions got good when it comes to the cap space. We're going to go through the cap of the Detroit Lions for this year and next year and what they can do with this money. They have 3 options, and we're going to go through those options right now. Let's get this thing going. Before we get into the cap here, name a free agent who you want the Detroit Lions to sign, because we're going to go over a lot of free agents in this video, because obviously that is one solution when you have cap money. So let's get into the cap right now. This is the current situation of the Detroit Lions cap space, available at $38.5 million. That's second in the NFL, a dead cap hit of $25 million. Thank you, Cam Suttonp, because that's where it came from. Lions looking really, really good when it comes to the cap space this year. Thank you to everybody in the front office, as they know what they're doing. So here is the top cap hits for the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff for this year is $27 million. Taylor Decker is $19 million. Frank Ragnow is $12.8 million. Aiden Hudson, $9.7 million. Penei Sewell, $8.1 million. Alex Anzalone at $7.4. That's what they got going on for the cap. Here is the solutions that the Detroit Lions could do with these cap space. First off, they could use the money. They could go ahead and get free agents, and we're going to talk about free agents that are available for the Detroit Lions to utilize. They can do contract extensions. There's players who need contract extensions for sure. They can do that, or they could simply roll over the money and keep it for the 2025 season. That would be a fiscally responsible move to do. So let's get at it. But before we do, will the Detroit Lions sign anyone before training camp? 1 if you believe yes, 0 if you believe no. And let's get for the first solution that they could do is they could extend the players. And here are players who are up for a contract extension that's relevant, in my opinion. Aleem McNeil, for sure. We got to pay this guy. It's going to cost the Lions a pretty penny. This is the year to do it. Aiden Hutchinson, whether it be after this season, the Lions are going to have to pay him, and it's going to be buku money. He's probably going to be paid one of the top defenders in all of the NFL. The Lions traded for Carlton Davis. He was on a 1-year deal. The Lions could extend him and make him a Detroit Lion for a longer solution. David Montgomery is a free agent after this year. Maybe they would like to extend him for another year or 2. And Jameson Williams is coming up on a contract extension. I would suggest they probably look at it after this year to see what the type of production that he does for Detroit. Could he really excel like we expect him to, or does he not? Then we can wait for a contract extension right there. Now, the Lions could also do a rollover situation, and here is the current cap for next year. $73.25 million. That get dead cap hit of 6.5. 6th best in the National Football League at $73 million in cap space. So if they were to roll over some of this money, you could have $100 million in cap space. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that is what's available. So they don't have to use all of it. They could roll over some of it, right, to give the Detroit Lions the ability to be flexible for 2025 season. Imagine what the Lions could do in free agency if they had that type of money that they're already doing. That's already big-time money. And that's what the Lions absolutely could do. So those are the 3 options. Now, when we're getting into free agents, we're going to do that right now. So these are free agents that are available, not necessarily what the Lions could look to get. And I'm going to give you my thoughts right now. Let's start at the corner position. There's a lot of good free agents actually at the corner position. Now, we are good at corner, so we already know this. This would be a situation if a player gets injured who we rely on. I mean, we already had Khalil Dorsey get injured. Now, it wasn't significant, but what if there is one? Remember C.J. Gardner-Johnson last year? Done. Emmanuel Mosley barely played. So there's free agents that the Lions could pick up with this money. Stephon Gilmore would be a very good stopgap solution if there is an injury. to one of those guys. Patrick Peterson, he's definitely is not really that good anymore, in all honesty. Xavien Howard would be a longer-term solution for the Lions. That's why I don't think now that they would sign him. Aodree Jackson is also a veteran that the Lions could look at to help out. Honestly, when I look at the cornerbacks and I look all of it, I don't think the Lions are going to pretty much touch any of these guys. We are really solid at the corner position right now. Emmanuel Moseley is the one who's looking right now to make the team. Emmanuel Moseley, who was our high-price free agent last year, he's just looking simply to make the team. And Khalil Dorsey's looking good. I mean, even like Stephon Gilmore, Stephon's brother, who I really like, is probably not going to make the team. So that just shows you that even if there is injuries, the Detroit Lions will have the ability to cover some of these injuries. So those are the free agents. I don't believe anyone's Lions signed any of those guys. Just an FYI. Let's get into the question right now. Name a free agent the Detroit Lions could sign. Let me know in the comments below. It could be any free agent, a star-studded free agent, even if there's not really that much left, or just a mini camp or a camp body. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Next group of free agents the Detroit Lions could look to sign. How about going defensive tackle? Again, I think we are good at DT at this moment. You got DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, Broderick Martin, but absolutely, they could actually add another guy, and this is a realistic option. Linval Joseph, another defensive tackler, gigantic body for the Lions to help stop the run. Calais Campbell, the ridiculous old veteran. I think he's got to be 37, 38 years old, but dang, he still produces, at least on a very minimal level, if you're just doing a handful of snaps a game. Lawrence Guy is another defensive tackle the Detroit Lions could use to see if he can compete with the rest of the folks on the roster. It'd be the bare end of the roster. The Lions are pretty good when you look at defensive tackle. They are definitely solid at that position, but you can always use extra guys. You can always use individuals that can help the team out, because if you look at the Lions free agents right here, or not free agents, but Lions roster right here, DJ Reader, Lee McNeil's good. There is some questions, though, on Levi Onwuzurike, right? Can he stay healthy? Broderick Martin, there's questions there. Mekhi Wingo, who we just drafted. You don't really expect this guy to make a significant impact. So for me, I mean, they could look to sign one of those players for the defensive tackle position, maybe after training camp or before. That could make a sense for this football team. The next group of folks the Detroit Lions absolutely could sign, and this is probably the most realistic of all of the individuals on this team here, is Justin Simmons. Of course, you get Mr. Quandre Diggs, right? Everybody likes Quandre Diggs. And Jamal Adams, who is from the Seattle Seahawks, who was released by them. This is realistic. The Detroit Lions have money. Justin Simmons makes a ton of sense for Detroit. He does. When you look at the Lions' depth at the safety position, we're okay with Kirby Joseph, Afutu Melifonwu, and Brian Branch, he's going to be mid-nickel as well. But there has been issues in minicamp and OTAs that the safeties were not doing good. And if they feel Kirby Joseph and Afutu Melifonwu need a little bit extra help, even though they weren't really practicing in OTAs, Justin Simmons makes a lot of sense. He would be a starter for the Detroit Lions. Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs, to me, would be backups roles for this football team, and that's not a bad thing as all. We got backups, and backups are really important, and that's something that we absolutely talk about here. So, look, if you're wanting to get a backup, a reliable backup, I mean, Quandre Diggs and Adams potentially could be those guys. They could be, because it does make sense for them to get better at all positions on this team. And if safety is going to be an issue for the Detroit Lions in 2024, at least from a depth perspective, why not add a free agent? You have the money to get it done, and just make sure that this roster is completely solid from front to back. Question for you. Will the Detroit Lions sign anyone before training camp? If you believe they will do so, type 1. That will equal yes. If you don't believe they will sign anybody, put 0. That will be no. Let's get in the last group of free agents I think the Detroit Lions could look to sign, and obviously it's the edge position. These are 3 individuals that the Lions could look to help out this edge position. We know it's a mystery right now opposite of Aidan Hutchinson. We have talked about it, and there's 3 players here. One I really like, Yannick Ngakoue, the edge rusher from the Chicago Bears, who still is good at his age of 28. He gets sacks. He's been on different teams the last couple of years. If the Lions are looking to get a guy who can be added to this pass rush group, Yannick Ngakoue makes the most sense. Carl Lawson as well could be an individual you can sign up in here, and he can battle it out with Marcus Davenport and Mitchell Argud and everybody else on there. Emmanuel Ogbah, again, he could fight it out with the top guys of Marcus Davenport and John Kaminsky and Joshua Pasca, everybody that we have talked about many, many times on here. Because if you look at the group here of edge, it's Aidan Hutchinson and everybody else. We want Joshua Pascal to step up, but we don't know. John Kaminsky had a down year last year. Marcus Davenport injury as a Viking, and he didn't produce a lot there, and he showed some glimpses as in New Orleans. James Houston has showed massive glimpses, especially as a rookie. With that said, he was injured last year, and we're hearing he's still not doing that great in practice. Mitchell Argud is stepping up in a big way, but it's Mitchell Argud, so they absolutely could use another edge. Matthew Betts, haven't heard a whole lot from him, and Ngakoue, haven't heard a lot from him as well. So these are players that the Detroit Lions could look to scoop up and help out this team as part of the Lions cap and the money that they got. So what option would you take? Would you sign some free agents? Would you roll over? Would you extend players? I think, in all honesty, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to look to extend a couple players, maybe a Lee McNeil, right? And save the money for next year to extend the other players that we want to extend. And I would keep money for the trade deadline just in case somebody is available. And look, if there's no one available, then you can roll over some of that money as well. I think if you do all 3 options, that would be great. Try not to, hopefully you don't have to sign free agents, right? Everything works out well. That would be, but you have the money to do that if it doesn't work out well. So let me know in the comment section your thoughts on this one. Subscribe to the channel. We're live for Lions games. Make sure you show up on Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, whatever day the Lions are live. With that said, folks, adios.